Unprecedented heat and drought are triggering an energy crisis in a growing number of European countries. Water levels on the Danube have fallen so low that Hungary has been forced to cut output at its Paks nuclear power plant to just 25% of capacity. The river is the plant's sole source of cooling water. Hungarian authorities have begun filling 2 barges with water to sink them in the Danube. They hope the resulting obstruction will raise the river level by about 20 centimeters. A longer-term barrier is also being built into the riverbed, though that project will take several weeks to complete. Paks provides roughly 1/3 of Hungary's electricity and is the country's largest single source of power. Neighboring Romania was forced to shut down its last operating nuclear reactor on Thursday because of the same low water levels. We can now speak to Attila Aszodi. He's a professor at Budapest University of Technology and Economics, and he's also a former government commissioner for Hungary's nuclear new build project. Welcome to DW, Professor. So just how serious is the situation at the Paks nuclear power plant? So as we've reported, output's already been cut, but is there a risk of having to actually shut down reactors?
The situation is the following. We see record low level and record low flow rate of the Danube River in the whole country. And this is very challenging for the transportation industry, for the agriculture, and also for the energy industry, because several power plants are cooled by the river water, and the water level at the Paks power plant is so low at this moment that it is challenging to get the water out from the Danube River. So officials are intervening and constructing a new kind of dam to elevate the water level at the power plant to ensure for the next weeks and months the appropriate level and the appropriate access to the water.
Can you perhaps explain why nuclear reactors like Paks and others, as you mentioned, why do they depend so heavily on specifically river water for cooling?
Okay, nuclear power plants are thermal power plants, and all thermal power plants require cooling because of their physics. So approximately 1/3 of the energy produced in the reactor is used for the electricity production, and 2/3 of the energy needs to be conducted to the environment because of this thermal power plant physics. So Paks nuclear power plant requires 100 cubic meter per second cooling water for the operation. And at this moment, the flow rate of the Danube River at the plant is approximately 1/3 of the annual mean volume. And this very low flow rate causes very low level of the water, which means that the pumps cannot access to the water. So this is the primary problem. And the remedy for this situation is to elevate the level of the water to ensure the appropriate level and the access to the water. But once again, the main thing is that thermal power plants require cooling for the normal operation, and this is limited by the very low level of the Danube River.
All right. Well, there's been a lot of attention on the plan to sink barges in the Danube in an effort to raise the water levels. Can you explain what exactly is being done and how it's going to help? And is this a sustainable strategy?
Okay, this is just a temporary solution. It is hoped to see few centimeter water level rise because of the barges. And I don't think that the barges will remain there for many days. The real intervention is that there will be a new kind of dam across the river, and this will elevate the water level to the necessary level. And it will ensure the long-term solution and the long-term access to the water level, or to the Danube River water. But once again, the barges are just a temporary solution. They will be used for days or maybe 1-2 weeks, but the long-term solution is to elevate the water level across the whole cross-section.
Okay, but if you say that what the country is working on is creating sorts of dams to, I assume, physically reshape the riverbed to hold water back at Paks, won't this also impact the other Danube states that are downstream? So countries like Romania, Serbia, Croatia, and others, has there been coordination with these states on this project?
And so let me say this is some kind of extra intervention right now. The flow rate of the river will be not changed, just the water level at the power plant. So there will be no effect on the other countries. So this is not kind of reservoir of the water. There will be no control equipment in this cross section. This is just an additional resistance in the flow to elevate the water level, but the same flow rate, what comes to the cross section, what comes to the country, will flow further to Serbia and to Bulgaria and Romania.
Well, some critics would argue that adapting the plant's cooling system might be a better long-term solution than having to intervene in the river, especially if we can assume that there's going to be further years with very hot and dry summers. So how would you respond to that?
Yeah, you are right. So we need short-term and mid-term and long-term solutions as well. The short-term solution is to elevate the water level to ensure the access to the water. But surely the long-term solution will be to extend the cooling system with new methods. At this moment, the freshwater cooling is used, which means that this 100 cubic meter per second Danube River water is pumped through the condensers and cool the reactors or cool the whole power plant. But later on, I think additional cooling system will be installed to lead the heat not directly to the water, but some part of the heat to the atmosphere, and to decrease the heat load of the Danube River. But still, the access to the water will be required, and maybe some additional measures by transforming the pumps or refurbishing the pumps will be also required.
Right. So would you then say that the situation that we're facing with Paks should be a kind of a warning for nuclear power plants in other European countries that also depend on rivers for cooling? What should they learn from what we're dealing with now in Hungary?
I think the measures what you see right now in Paks are some kind of climate adaptation measures, because we see clearly the effect of the climate change. Not only nuclear power plants, but all the thermal power plants and also hydropower plants are facing issues because of the low precipitation and the low water level of rivers. So it is definitely a situation which is important for many other countries. Heat load and the temperature limit of the rivers is something what we were facing previously as well in the last years. But once again, climate change is clearly seen in this effect, and we need to adapt industrial facilities, infrastructures to this changed environment.
That was Attila Aszodi from the Budapest University of Technology and Economics. Many thanks indeed for all of your insights, Professor. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.